Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. The next Wasteless Word Talks are here with Bill, Kevin, and myself. We will write on the back of a language to the future. And the term today is knowledge. And I will start with you, Bill, during this car Zoom, as you name it properly. So if you hear the term knowledge, what came first to your mind, please?
The word that came to my mind first was truth, which I do not believe in. Knowledge is too often opinion. That's what came to mind first.
All right. What about you, Kevin?
Well, I was thinking actually opposites about knowledge. Knowledge can be a great relief, a great freedom, or a great burden, or a cup of poison. Knowledge can be all of these things. It is not one thing.
Do you think that knowledge is static?
No, but it's a tool. It can be used for both good or for evil.
So if you think of what knowledge was maybe in 1500 or 1492, when Columbus supposedly discovered America, I think it's quite different then than it is today on a number of different. In fact, I don't know if there's any knowledge that has remained static for those 500 years.
Yeah, imagine when Copernicus discovered that the Earth rotates around the sun. That is not knowledge which is good to spread.
Just before we started this recording, I came across a news related to artificial intelligence, this time for Google artificial intelligence. I don't know how it's called. But for some time, there are some people who are trying to use Atari 2700 computer, emulated, to play chess with the newest AI. Atari 2700 was introduced in 1977. Not a single artificial intelligence tool, these large language modules, beat Atari in a chess game. And the latest one was Google AI, who was completely demolished. So I think it is quite interesting because, what do we gain in school? Do we gain knowledge or wisdom? What do we gain in school?
I hope we gain the ability the childlike ability to be inquisitive, to continue being inquisitive, and to ask questions.
Do you agree, Kevin?
Yeah, I think that school is a place to learn. It's a place to learn facts. It's a place to learn about yourself. It's a place to learn to use your body, to learn to use your brain, and to be a part of society. And I think that the problem is when you're teaching somebody, you can teach them to be free, or you can teach them to be a slave. And that's the balance that schools need to find out what it is they're teaching.
Abel, you said that school should learn to ask questions. I do not remember a single time when I was taught to ask questions. When I was in the school, we have been taught to answer, but not ask.
Yeah, I'd like to say it was different over here, but it was not so different over here. I remember in college, my challenge in the first week or two of each semester was to figure out what that guy at the front of the room, how he tests, what's he looking for? Is he looking for me to regurgitate what he has told me? Or is he looking for good thought? What's he looking for? And my grade in that course depended on getting an answer in the first couple of weeks.
It's quite interesting because I do not remember anything like that, to do anything like that. But 10 minutes before we start, I receive a new challenge from Enel Company. Enel Company is one of the largest power distributors, originated in Italy, but he spread all around the globe. And he has so-called innovation challenges, which you can participate in if you know something about the topic. You know, it is 73 billion euro turnover company, and they offer for great ideas 10,000 euro to the winner only, collecting all the knowledge of the others for free. And I'm just now asking myself, is it right? Is this the way how the giants should squeeze humans?
That's pretty cheap. That's pretty cheap to get knowledge from just the guy on the street and just pay him that little bit. That's pretty cheap. That's okay.
Yeah, it's quite a good scam, isn't it?
You know, the first challenge is how to protect the cables for the charging stations from being stolen. And they operate 37,000 charging stations, which means in this challenge, they are ready to spend 0.3 euro to protect something which can save them hundreds of millions. And I'm just now asking myself, is the right knowledge to give them the knowledge, if we have it, or the idea, or is the result of a good knowledge to understand that they are just trying to cheat in some way? Ooh.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to look at that. You could look at it from a global standpoint and take the side of humanity and say it is right or it is not right. Or you could look at it from the individual who's about to get that reward and say, I need that money, so it's a good thing.
There is additionally a promise of cooperation with Enel. So this is 10,000 plus cooperation. But for me, because I participated 5-6 years ago in similar, they never replied. You do not know who was the winner. It's really collecting ideas.
Yeah.
But speaking about the knowledge, I think it's not just a human thing, because knowledge can be survival of animals, plants, whatever. So knowledge how to make love or how to love someone, that's not a knowledge which you will learn somewhere. So do you think knowledge is a human thing?
It's not a human. Animals, you can train an animal. You can train plants. Right now, they are breeding plants that can survive in higher atmospheric temperatures because of warming. So I think that I think the word knowledge covers a wide spectrum, not just humans.
Do you agree, Kevin?
Definitely. I think if you look at the way killer whales or wolves hunt as packs, that they hunt an extremely complicated, well-worked strategy. And they needed knowledge, first of all, to learn it, and then to pass that knowledge on through the species. So nature relies upon knowledge.
Is it knowledge or instinct, or is it the same?
It has to be knowledge. These hunting patterns are too complicated to be pure instinct.
You know, I think I mentioned it last time that the scientists discovered a shark in an ocean. They make a scan of an eye retina And they find out that this shark was born around 1,600. So it's 400 years old. They say that it's the longest living creature as an animal discovered by humans. They expect there will be someone even older, but this is the discovery which made the term. So 500 years. How do you think will this handover of the knowledge looks like in current days, in the days of AI? Do we hand knowledge to humans or do we hand it more and more to AI tools and computers and digital and whatever?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think that handing over knowledge to AI for the benefit of humanity is a fine thing to do.
Is it fine or
I don't
fine?
think that's why we're doing it, though.
I was watching this program about making soap, and I had no idea at all how soap is made. And when I need soap, I go to the shop and buy it. But in my great grandparents' time, if they wanted soap, they had to make it. And it's interesting, the knowledge we need now compared to the knowledge we had 200 or 300 years ago is completely different. I mean, it's quite remarkable. The things we have to learn now seem very, very complex. But it was the same back then. Life was complicated just in a different way.
When you spoke about how soap is being made, the first thought which came to my mind was Second World War and concentration camps, where we have learned that the soap was made from human bones. That's the knowledge which came to my mind. And today, of course, we have a lot of chemicals which we put together and something came out of it which we call soap. But it's quite interesting. I have seen quite interesting tool. If you go to a hotel, there is these liquid soap dispensers, which frequently are not well designed. You put too much or too little or whatever. And some clever guy took the soap bar, put it there, and then just by turning, you get few of these small parts in your hand. It was so interesting, so simple, but so interesting.
I think the reason the soap industry likes liquid soap is because it is so much more wasteful than solid bars of soap.
And if I do remember, there was a Czech startup which instead of washing soap or washing liquid, I mean not dishwasher, the washing machine, they make a piece of paper. So they press it into a sheet, and you just put this one sheet in a washing machine. It is so interesting. And at the beginning, they struggle. They struggle because they contacted Procter and Gamble and other big players, and everybody was refusing the idea because of the additional cost or profit which they can get from logistics and you never squeeze it to the very end. So it was quite interesting, but they succeeded, and I think it's being sold globally today.
Right. We use sheets in the washing machine because I don't like to carry those big, heavy jugs of liquid soap.
So the question is only when we will compress our food in this way. So instead of having Thanksgiving a dinner, you will get a sheet and you put a water on it, and it there is a quite a famous Czech series, like a soap opera but series, about a group of scientists which travel from the future to current time to find a scientist who discovered that the earth can be moved because of something. And the guy was a child, and it is a very interesting, but there is a section And it was something like 1980s, something like that. And there is a section where they eat exactly the way before they learn about this standard food. They have this special, you put a sheet, you put a water, and it came so blubbly, whatever to eat. But it was very interesting to see it. And a few years later, there was a discussion about this implementation of similar stuff. But nobody would like to have it, because if you would like to have it, the chicken or whatever, you like the shape, not just the taste.
So what came to mind was, what do the astronauts use? I think that I heard many years ago that they have tubes, like tubes of toothpaste, and they put it in their mouth and squeeze it, and that gives them all the nutrition that they need, because they certainly don't pick up a leg of lamb or peas. How would you catch all the peas?
I was in a factory which produce similar stuff. So there are no of these negative parts of the food, just the positive ones. And I have a trouble for few years of trouble. If I eat a standard portion in a restaurant here in Czech, I get very tired. Because my stomach processes it, and I have to go to sleep. When I eat with my mom, firstly I get soup, then the meat and something at the end. Immediately I have to go to bed and sleep for 1 hour. And they serve me something which was a powder mixed with water. And 1 glass, they said 1 glass is your standard ratio as a lunch. So I drink it. I cannot say I like the taste, but you can drink it. It was sweet somehow. And I was not tired. That was very interesting. They call it mana, M-A-N-A. And they sell it to sportsmen and people who does not have time. Even they are in hospitals and similar. But it was very interesting. But the question is, they sell the product, but they don't sell or share the know-how. So are we in the times where we really share knowledge, or we just sell the result of knowledge?
Yeah, another good question. I think we do both. Probably we share the knowledge, we sell the knowledge. I think that there are a lot of people, business people or just people in general, who are looking for the great idea so that they can sell it, not to give it. We used to give it away. Jonas Salk, who made the vaccine for, boy, I'm drawing a blank, and he gave it away. He could have patented it and sold it, but he gave it away. The guy who came up with the seatbelt for cars, the 3-point seatbelt, gave that away because he wanted to save lives. So some people are motivated by money, and some people are motivated to make a better world.
Anything to add, Kevin?
Yeah, I would say, looking back through history, this expression that knowledge is power means that we don't share knowledge. We hide knowledge. We keep knowledge. We protect knowledge. It's not something we willingly share. Certainly not the giants, not the super rich, not the super powerful throughout history. They had knowledge and they coveted it and kept it hidden from the rest of us.
So,
yes, Bill?
I was just thinking, the giants do that. Some of the rest of us do that. But I share knowledge all the time. Every time I've got the grandkids for the afternoon, I'm teaching, I'm helping them, in 100 different ways. I'm giving that. I'm not I'm not making any money on that.
No.
Uh,
I remember there was a great example with there was the companies had this idea that they would copyright the human genome. And then a group of scientists in the US and the UK heard about this. And so they published the whole human genome on the internet, making it free to use for everybody. It couldn't be copyrighted. And I think that is fantastic.
When I speak to you as authors, writers, do you feel that you share your knowledge? Is it sharing knowledge, writing a book and publishing a book? If I speak
Well,
about you specifically.
I'm certainly not getting rich from it.
No, and I think it's it's sharing both knowledge and experience, and these two things are slightly different.
Yeah, because I think that you are not writing manuals, you are not writing something which is in detail, you are writing books which entertain and teach at the same time, showing what was in the past and so on. So to be honest, I don't know whether it is we can call it knowledge. I will call it experience, or I will call it, I don't know how to call it, to be honest.
How would you define knowledge?
That's the question. And what is the opposite of knowledge? You started, Kevin, with thinking about the opposite of knowledge. What is opposite of knowledge? Absence of knowledge?
You can't define it like absence of knowledge. That's
no, ignorance, I guess, could be one. Secrecy could be another.
secrecy. Interesting.
You know, when I prepared for this, I translated the term, or I let Google translate the term knowledge into Czech. There are 6 words, very different, and all describe the same term in English. And I'm sure there will be much more. So, and I'm sure some has been missing. But it was quite interesting to see how rich the language is I usually speak. And you know, what is the, if knowledge is a key, what is the door? Or what is behind the door which this key is opening?
Tomorrow.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Because you do remember the time when we spoke about door, whatever. What was it? Door. I don't remember the term. Let me check it. No. Threshold. We spoke about threshold once, long time ago. And we spoke about threshold and door. What is behind the door, which is under, is the threshold. And right now you say, there is tomorrow. I think at the beginning there was something scary when we talk about threshold, but at the same time it can be something which we look for because it can be whatever. But it's quite interesting that you came first with this term. Will you put there another one, Kevin?
No, I was thinking that maybe knowledge can mean so many different things. So it could be that behind the door is power. It could be behind the door is an enlightenment. It could be behind the door is freedom. It depends upon what the knowledge is. You know, because some knowledge is a terrible burden, whereas other knowledge is can be wonderful.
But do we learn to share knowledge? Or is it automatically coming with the way how we are living, with the age? because as Bill spoke about his grandchildren, it will somehow represent the age. With the age, we are sharing more knowledge. But is it so?
I think we share a different kind of knowledge with age. I have very different conversations with my wife than I do with my grandchildren. That's not totally age related, but there's some things, there's a lot of things I don't get into with the grandchildren. Uh, they're on a more simple level.
But I think that
philosophers share knowledge. Religions share knowledge. You know, a lot of religions are guides on how to live.
Oh boy, that challenges the definition of knowledge. Sharing knowledge, how to live. Yeah, okay, I could see that, but also they share the knowledge that they want you to believe so that they'll have power over you. To some extent, it's not all just out of the goodness of their heart that they're going to share this with you. Same with the giants.
You know what is interesting listening to you is that the religion, when we don't switch to Latin, when we really speak the religion, speak the language of the people, they speak so that the people do understand the content up to some level. But the science doesn't do that. They do completely opposite thing. They speak the language which you do not, with the intention for you not to understand. And still, the power in some way is being present, or is being requested to be the result of this way of sharing the knowledge. It is so interesting. I know that I'm every day investigating about Industry 5.0, and just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, somebody wrote a research paper on speaking the right language in research. So the understandable language, it was some professor, and he mentioned Industry 5.0 among other issues, among other topics. And I contacted him because I was happy because we should speak this language. And he never replied. Because, I was probably too simple for him. So, but it's quite interesting. Okay, so if we do understand knowledge as a multi-platform, because it so much can be the knowledge, should we limit the knowledge? Should we say, okay, you have...
I think a lot of people try to. I'm going to patent that, and you don't get to know what is in that black box in the design. I don't want you to know what's in the algorithm or what's. I want to limit that knowledge. Yes.
Kevin, any comment on this?
No, I agree with Bill. I think that it gets back to that secrecy in a way. It's the opposite of knowledge. You have knowledge, or you have knowledge and you hide that knowledge. Then it's no longer knowledge.
So if you hide knowledge, you think it's no more knowledge?
Or is it just hidden secret knowledge?
Yeah, I guess if it's never shared, then it might as well not exist.
No. We all know that there exists in Vatican this secret library where nobody can enter, or very limited people can enter, and so there are many stories about it. And I think there are many similar places in the world where the knowledge is kept secret. And do you think that the people, it's just now your opinion, that the reason, because, it is hidden there for hundreds of years. The people who hide it there, they are not living anymore. Do they hide it because they think that it's too dangerous for humans? Or that it is too dangerous for the, let's say, community they represent? What will be more common? Because
I'm thinking about
I think in the case of
Go ahead.
Yes, Kevin or Bill?
That's right, but I was going to say that I think when religion is involved, it's not so much knowledge as it is belief. And so any knowledge or any belief which challenges the narrative is going to be suppressed.
Yeah, I was going to say something along those lines. I agree.
Because today I think that the knowledge is being hidden because of expected profit. For many years, we speak about treatment for cancer, simple treatment for cancer. Every time when they are next to the breakthrough, it disappeared. I was dealing with Epson, the producer of the printers. They produce a machine which can produce a new new paper directly in the office, saving 95% of water. So all the logistic around paper disappeared. And it's not a cheap machine, but it can produce quite a lot of paper. But still, there are few pieces sold. So I think that today is the profit is more important than sharing the knowledge. And we see it in AI in all the spaces. Just now in the morning, I have read that the government of DJ Trump approved, I think, 4 contracts for AI companies to produce applications for AI applications for army, which just looking at Robocop or any Terminator, any similar movie, I don't think it's a good idea to put weapons in the hands of AI. And I don't think it's sharing the knowledge, but more sharing the stupidity of someone who don't think properly.
Yeah, there was a discussion a couple of weeks ago with some other people, and we were talking about artificial intelligence, and if that is the right name for what it is that's being produced. Is it intelligence? And so we didn't come to a decision except that it's not intelligence. It's not intelligence.
Kevin.
I think I was thinking about it. I think the opposite of knowledge is belief. I was reading that one. Yeah, I read that in America, one person in 10 believes that the government is run by lizard men. And that isn't knowledge, but it's a belief. But I think it's an encouraging belief because I don't think lizard men can do as bad as the rest of us.
One of the persons who joined the noon discussion is Leslie Flowers. She's a writer and she lives in the US. And her first sentence when I asked the same question like you, what came to her mind was, knowledge does not exist. No. Knowledge is worthless. And the second sentence was, when not applied. It was very interesting.
What was the second sentence?
When not applied. Knowledge is worthless when not applied. That's interesting, but the belief, that's so interesting. And it is really easy to let people believe. in what it's of favor to the one who spread this belief. We have 4 minutes.
This is really, really, really old black and white footage from the 1890s of a guy who believed that he could jump off the Eiffel Tower and survive. And so they were filming it. And all of us, or all of the audience, knew that this guy was going to kill himself. But this guy jumped anyway, and he killed himself. But it shows that that's the big difference between knowledge and belief.
You know, in Czech, we use we can say, I will jump, for example, from the ski jumping, whatever, ever tower. I will jump with my skis. And we make bets, and I did. But we don't differentiate in our language, we don't differentiate that I will jump after riding, or I will put the skis on and I will jump just so. So I succeeded. But we cannot say this in English probably, or in French, or in other language. But in my language we can do. We hide a lot of things between the lines. So and I think one of the results of knowledge is the ability to read between the lines, to have the critical thinking. We talk about critical reasoning, all this stuff. We call it, or I call it, to put something between the lines. And I really love, Abel, your last page, because it's so clear. There is nothing needed to be put in between the lines. Same with the waste prevention methodology. Everything is clear, written, no matter who will read it, they will understand. And I think to have this, the ability and knowledge to do that, it's really, really a big thing. We have 1 minute 40 left. So anything.
Kevin, I like your introducing the word belief. And my mind is just, I'm trying to figure out how much of what I call knowledge is really just belief.
And I
think everything in religion is belief. I may be wrong, but I may be right. Belief, I like that.
A lot that inspires us is belief rather than knowledge.
It's inspiring.
Yeah, we believe in a better tomorrow.
You know, it was once again a discussion which ended just before we started, but it was great. So thank you very much. We have less than 1 minute time. It was great to have the first car Zoom with Bill, the inventor of car Zoom. And it was great to meet again. And I do believe we will meet next time on the same time and place. But for now, have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, be free, be human. And please share your knowledge everywhere, because it's so important. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.